Om Vishnu-padaya Krishna-prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschagadhi Shatharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Guru Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Guru Charana Saroja Rajat Nija Manu Mukuru Sudhari Varano Raghuvara Vimala Jasuyo Dayakuparachari Buddhihina Tanujanike Sumiran Bhavada Kumar Dehu Mohi Haravukaru Desha Vikara Jai Hanumana Gyana Guna Sagara Jai Kapisha Tihu Loka Ujagara Ramaduta Atulita Baladama Anjani Putra Havana Suttana. So we have an Indian atmosphere, which means noisy, Indian weather, and we have an Indian book. Now, I told you in the last months that the basic story of Ramayana is known to everyone in India. Although there are some differences, different versions, but the basic story is very famous. So therefore, I'm focusing more on some specific events which might not so much known. Last time we spoke about the situation that Vishwamitra is coming to Ayodhya. To this time, Dasharatha is the king. He reigned for 60, and after 60,000 years of management, he was, today we would say, burned out. But he couldn't resign because he had no son. This was a problem because to this time, the previous times, and even in some parts of India nowadays, or like countries like Nepal, it is the custom that the oldest son is taking over as the king. So he had a lot of wives. His three main wives were Kausalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra, but no. So finally he made a certain yagya to get a son, Putra Kamishti Yagya, and he got 4 sons. Ram was the eldest. So he was supposed to become the next king. So the day he was appointed as the Yuva Raja, this means the prince, he was banned out of the kingdom. The story we have told, and I guess everyone knows. So he had to leave Ayodhya for 14 years and go to the forest. Only his brother Lakshman and his wife Sita were accompanying him. No army, no treasury or nothing, no horses, no elephants, just these 3 and that's it. But before this took place, one day, as I said, Dasharata had no sons, and as he got his sons, of course, he was very happy, especially because these sons were perfect. So he was very happy that his kingdom is in good hands, and the tradition will continue because he comes in a line, in a Vangsha, which there were many, many famous kings like Ikshvaku, Dilipa, Bhagirath, Raghu, and many others, Ambarish. So we spoke about this point that Dasharata was very, very happy because he accomplished everything he wanted, but the only thing he was lacking was a son. So he got even 4 sons. He lived happily. The people in the kingdom were happy. Everything was fine. It was great. Couldn't be better. It is said the atmosphere and the feeling of living in Ayodhya was so good that no one died anymore because there was no fear. Fear makes us old. Therefore, we are getting older because we have to fear things. Right? There are 3, Durga with her trident, or Parvati, Kali, she has different names. She has a trident. And these are the 3 miseries of this world. Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, Adhidevika. Adhyatmika means this is Adhibhautika. Atma means the self or the body, the soul. There are many translations for Atma. Adhyatmika means problems arising from our own body. Disease, for instance. You cannot avoid it. Yeah. We saw some years ago Corona turned everything upside down in this world, right? Although I recently saw a documentary in the TV that there was one Indian. He was explaining they had a festival right in the middle of the Corona time, and there were 100,000 Indians sitting there in a festival. I don't remember which festival it was, but no one had a mask. So he was laughing. He said the whole world was getting crazy, and everyone had to wear this mask. But there were 100,000 Indians sitting there, didn't care about a mask. Of course, there were also many died in India because of Corona. This was just a little tiny virus, extremely tiny. You couldn't see him, you couldn't smell him, you couldn't hear him, but he killed so many. And of course, I could go on with so many examples of diseases one can have, fractures and stomach ache, headache, whatever. So this is one problem, or one sort of problem, Adhyatmika. There's Adidevika. Let's take Adidevika. It means it's coming from the devas, from the nature. Floods. Also recently there was a huge flood in India and Nepal. Too much sun, too much heat, too much cold, earthquakes. Oh, so many problems can arise from nature, right? So, and there's Adibautika. Adibautika means coming from the word Bhuta. Bhuta means living entity. Other living entities can cause us trouble. Flies, mosquitoes, human beings, neighbors, financial State Department, police, right? Colleagues. Oh, the list is long, right? So many people can cause us trouble, or animals, a dog can bite us, or anything. So a monkey can attack us in India if you're not careful. Or some monkeys are trained to steal your eyeglasses. If you go to Vrindavan, for instance, also in other places, if you have an eyeglass, then the monkey comes and steal your eyeglass, and then by chance some Indian comes and is trying to sell to you the eyeglasses back. So the monkeys are trained to steal sweets also. Never wear sweets or show sweets publicly in Vrindavan. The monkeys come, they steal your bag. Yes, so you get problems by the monkeys, mosquitoes, anyway, also a long list, right? It's a long list. And because of all this fear and troubles, we get older. In Ayodhya, as Dasharatha was the king, everyone was so happy. No one locked his door in the night. Every door was open. No one was afraid of thieves or intruders. What a nice atmosphere, right? In Germany, if you leave your car locked, you have to pay a penalty. Yeah, because they say this is this is an invitation for any thief. You cannot have your car unlocked. So you have to pay for this. Interesting, right? Times have changed. So everything was fine, everything was great. Dasharatha was happy, his wives were happy, the sons were happy, all the people were happy. And then Vishwamitra came. So Vishwamitra, who was formerly a Kshatriya, had turned into a Brahmana by a long story. And he demanded Ram. He needed Ram for protection. The system was Brahmanas, they are not supposed to fight. They are not supposed to fight. They can, if they have to, but they're not supposed to do it. So therefore Vishwamitra, he had a yagya, and this yagya was disturbed by two Rakshasas, Subahu and Maricha. So he went to the king and said, one of the duties of the kings are to protect people, especially the Brahmanas. So you have to, please give me Ram. He has to protect my yagya. But Dasharatha was very attached to his sons, especially to Rama. And this was hard. So he was not willing. Finally, he gave in, to make a long story. One of the brothers of Ram accompanied Ram. So they're on their way. Now, before they came to the place where the yagya was, they went through a forest. And you could see that there was a time when this forest was very beautiful and inhabited by many animals, but now it was not anymore like this. I was asking Vishwamitra about this place. So, and at this point we are here at the Tamil Ramayana, Kambana Ramayana. So Rama is asking, O intellectual one, this is Vishwamitra, why is this region so dry and hard? And why it is laying deserted like the land ruled by a terrorist king? Has it been burned out with the whirlpools of the Ganga or with the opening of the third eye by Lord Shiva? Or is there any other reason for it? Vishwamitra replied, there's a woman who keeps herself busy by killing various types of creatures. She has the body as terrific as Yama and has the strength of 1,000 intoxicated elephants. You listen to her story. There was a yaksha named Suketu. He was immensely valorous and belonged to the race of the yakshas. He was glorious like the god of fire and was the son of a wise yaksha named Chara Chara. Suketu had no son. As such, he adored Brahma for a long time. So then it is described that the Suketu, he worshipped Brahma to get a son. Brahma appeared, but said, I cannot give you this blessing, but you will have a daughter. This blessing I can give you. She will be as beautiful as Lakshmi and would remain always useful with a beautiful body. She would have the strength of 1,000 intoxicated elephants. You will have such a daughter. So indeed, he got a daughter, and one day he was, of course, interested in getting a husband for her. This was a yaksha named Shunda. So everything was fine. Everything was fine, and they also get children. Maricha, Subahu, I'm sure you know already these names, and another daughter. So both of them were so much intoxicated in application of illusion, in immense strength of arms, that all the people were surprised. So they had certain mystic powers. Sometimes yakshas have these powers. And one, the father, Shunda, he went to the ashram of Agastya. Agastya is a very, very famous sage, especially in the south of India. Why is another story. In the Puranas, there are many, many stories with Agastya. Miraculous things. Once he was drying up the whole ocean. He was drinking the whole ocean. Don't ask me how he did this, but this is his mystic power. So they went to his ashram, which was a very, very beautiful ashram. And although yakshas are not demons by nature, but sometimes they get naughty. So they destroyed the ashram, they killed the deers in the ashram. Deers are the normal appearance in these ashrams. Of course, Agastya got very angry at this. So, what did he do? He cursed this Shunda, and immediately his body, Shunda's body, burned down to ashes. This in turn made his sons and his wife angry. So his wife was Tataka. She was so angry that she was living in this forest and just killed everything and everyone she could get. Therefore, this forest was not anymore very beautiful. Now, Vishwamitra, he told the story to Ram and Lakshman, and they heard already the sound of Tataka because she was roaring. And Vishwamitra said, well, this woman is really a disturbance to this world. You please kill her. So here's my point, that this is the first time for Ram that he was in trouble. Because sometimes you have the problem that you have to choose between two options, and neither option seems to be good or perfect. In German, we call this Güterabwägung, and balancing of different interests. Or in the field of law, it's called balancing of different legally protected interests. So on one hand, Ram got the order by Vishwamitra to kill the woman. And before Rama left Ayodhya, Dasharatha told him, you please obey Vishwamitra. Whatever he orders you, you have to do. You follow him. So on one side, there was the order of his father. Then there was Vishwamitra, who was a great Brahmana, very respected. But on the other side, it is said, a Kshatriya never kills a woman. There are strict rules for Kshatriyas. They should never kill an old person, a child, or a woman. They should never kill someone who flees from the battlefield. Never shot someone in the back. They should never kill someone who's inferior in his ability to fight. You should always fight with someone who's on your level. You are not allowed to kill in the night when the sun has set. So these are the rules. And you find this in the Mahabharata, that these rules play an important role. So Ram, he knew, of course, this rule, and he said, well, I cannot kill a woman. So he was hesitant, although they were attacked. She created mystic waves of floods and fire, and she was throwing stones at them. And Vishwamitra said, no, kill her. Is she behaving like a woman? She's behaving like a warrior, like a brutal warrior. So you are allowed to attack her. You are allowed to kill her. And Vishwamitra is also quoting examples from the Shastras, where this was already a point that a woman was killed. Still, Rama was hesitant. So sometimes it is not easy to find the right solution for a problem. It seems that you have to violate one rule, whatever you do. As the saying goes in English, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So, what to do? You are not allowed to kill a woman, but Vishwamitra says, kill the woman. This is not a woman, this is a demoness. So this incident is the first one where Rama is criticized by some people in India. There are at least 5 events or situations where Rama is criticized nowadays. So this is one, because the critics say, how can Ram kill a woman? This is not allowed. This is not correct. So finally, Ram killed Tataka. He did. He had to make a choice. He had to make a decision. So finally, he gave in because he gave Tataka a chance to retreat, but she didn't stop with attacking. And then finally, he shot her. So this is a good example that how Vishnu behaves. He usually gives you a good chance to step back from your wrong action. He's not punishing you immediately, usually. He gives you a chance. And in the beginning, usually, the voice of Ram or Paramatma is not so loud. It's a little voice, a little advice, a hint. I remember one sannyasi, and he was a teacher in the Gurukul in Vrindavan. He told me the story that he got a present from a guest, Birkenstock shoes. Birkenstock is a German company who are doing good shoes. They are producing good shoes. They look like leather, but they are not from leather. Usually it's artificial leather, or they use the rest of leather other companies use. So they're not directly involved in using the normal leather for shoes. But to this time, I'm speaking about the 80s in Vrindavan. I don't know if it's still like this in Vrindavan. But to this time, if you wear leather in Vrindavan, you have a problem. Of course, you cannot enter a temple with leather shoes or anything leather, but you should not wear it even on the street, because people would get on your case. So leather means cow killing. Therefore, it is not allowed in traditional Hindu families or societies. So these shoes, they looked like leather, but they were not leather. So he thought, okay, oh, this is nice. And the shoes have a very good quality. And a little voice inside of him said, but they look like leather. Maybe I should not take it. But he was so attached to the shoes. He said, oh, great. So he put it before his flat. And the next day, a friend came and visited him and said, I saw these shoes outside. Is this leather? And he said, no, it's no leather. This is just, no. He explained the whole thing. German company, there's no leather, but they're very good shoes. And the friend said, okay. He didn't comment further on this. 3 days later, another Gurukul kid, a disciple of him, came and asked him, these shoes, is this leather? And he said, no, it's not. So the hints were becoming louder and louder. And after 2 weeks, he still had these shoes and was very happy using it. After 2 weeks, he got some bumps on his feet out of nothing. So he went to the physician, and some treatment was there, but it didn't go away. So finally, after some weeks, he understood, oh, this must be in connection with these shoes. So he got rid of the shoes. The bumps disappeared. And he understood, yeah, right from the first point I got the shoes, I had this inner feeling. I should not take them. But I was too greedy. So Krishna had to become louder and louder and louder. And as we say in German, wer nicht hören will, muss fühlen. If you do not want to hear, you have to experience it. You have to feel it. So, yes, this sometimes is happening. You have to make a choice. And there's some inner voice, as we also know, Paramatma is there. Savasya chaham riti sanavishto mata smritya jnanam apoharam cha. I'm sitting in everyone's heart. And from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Whatever we remember, whatever we forget, and whatever we know is controlled by Paramatma. So, yeah, this is something we experience very often in our lives. We have to make a choice, and we are not really sure what is the best one. Sometimes we also know it, we only know it later. And looking back, we might say, oh, I should have done like this and not like that. So Ram also had to make a choice. So that we can make the right choice, there's a system in the Indian philosophies which is called Sadhu Guru Shastra. We have 3 elements helping us to make the right choice, hopefully. Shastra means the scriptures, the texts, the books. And there are many, many, many. More than 1 million shlokas in Indian philosophical literature. And the problem is, in these shastras, there are statements which are contradictory. Yeah. Therefore, the second element is sadhu, the sages. It's like if you study in the university, you get some textbooks, some knowledge, but you also need some professors who are supposed to know the story already, the science already, and they can teach you and explain it to you. And the third element is guru, as a teacher and personal spiritual master. Because sadhus have not always the same opinion, right? Which is natural, because some sadhus, they worship Shiva, others worship Vishnu, others worship Durga. They have different opinions, different views of things. So ultimately, you need a personal guide. So Ram decided, okay, I follow Vishwamitra. So Ram gave her the chance to step back, but she was so angry. She said, my strength is beyond measure. This region is under my rule, and I shall kill all the people of this place. You have arrived here. Have you arrived with an idea that it has been difficult for me to obtain good flesh? Or have you arrived here due to the moves of the destiny? By her stretching, the clouds turned into pieces and fell down. With her kick, the mountains which touched the sky were reduced to pieces. She then, grinding her teeth, carried the trident in your hand. She uttered, I shall throw the trident at their chests. Thus uttering, she appeared before them, displaying their anger. The sage Vishwamitra had permitted the princes to kill her, and she was getting ready to endanger their lives. In spite of that, the Lord did not shoot an arrow with the intention of killing her. He thought for a moment that she was only a woman. Now, usually there are also rules when it is allowed to kill another person. There are different allowances that you can kill another person. For instance, if this person is taking your wife, now if this would be followed by all the people nowadays, then we had a lot of dead bodies in this country. Right? As far as I know, almost, I think it's 30 or 40% of all the people who are married, they engage in another affair during their marriage. And women are not less than men. So if all these men or women had the right to kill their partner, we had probably not 84 million people in this country, but only, I don't know, 60, 50 million. Yeah, it's not anymore allowed. You're also allowed to kill a person who's trying to steal your land or your house. And also to be allowed to kill a person if he's trying to kill you. This is still allowed nowadays. Notwehr, it's called. So this means if someone is trying to take your life, of course you are allowed to defend yourself and even kill the other one. Not in all cases you're automatically allowed, at least not in this country. In other countries it's different. But in this country, it's you have to balance what you do. Yeah. So now their lives were endangered. Katha was not willing to be humble and to stop the fight. So ultimately, what could be done? Ram had to kill her. She didn't understood the signals, the signs given, because she was too angry. Anger is a horrible advisor. Anger is polluting your intelligence, and you cannot think clearly, and you do stupid things if you're too angry. And this anger is mainly depending on your inability to understand what is your position in this universe. If you're too puffed up, then there is reason to become angry. If you understand that I'm an insignificant personality, an insignificant human being amongst billions of other human beings and billions and trillions of other living entities. So, what makes me so special and so sublime that I have the right to become angry on others? Therefore, in one shloka, Sri Chaitanya said, Tinata pitsu nichina taro iva sahishna. You have to be humble like the grass and more tolerant than a tree. Amanina mana dena kirtanaya sudahari. You should not expect any respect for yourself. This is already hard. But even harder is, he said, you should give respect to everyone else. In this state of mind, you can chant the holy name all the time. This is hard. Not to expect any respect for yourself. This is hard for the ego, right? But even harder is to give respect to everyone else. Amanina manadena. Wow, there's so many stupid people running around and brutal people, right, doing horrible things. So we cannot imitate this state artificially, run around and worship everyone we see. But still, we should have in mind that every living entity is a part of the Supreme. And every soul, if it's in a crocodile or in a president or in a street sweeper or in a homeless people or in sadhu, the soul is the same. The soul is the same. Just the body is different. So, yeah, respect everyone. Respect everyone, meaning we bow down before everyone because we bow down before the super soul, this Paramatma. Paramatma is there. Sarvasya chaham hridi samavishto. Krishna says, I'm sitting in everyone's heart. Sarvasya. Sarva means everything, and Sarvasya means of everything, in everything. Sarvasya cha aham. me, I, Lidi, in the heart, Sanivishto, I'm there. Matas Smrityagyana Mapohanamcha. And from me comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. So we might have problems with respecting a person, the outside body of the soul, but we can respect always the soul. In any insect, in any animal, therefore, we are trying to avoid any kind of violence. Therefore, we are not killing and eating animals. This is unnecessary violence. Okay, we're also killing. Even a vegetarian is killing. Because in salad or cauliflower or any other vegetable, sometimes this is also the living entity. Sometimes it's only the fruit of the living entity, like an apple or plum. So we take the fruits of the living entity of this plant, but sometimes also we use the plant. So yeah, we're also killing. Even the vegetarian is killing. Of course, everyone is killing anyway because we are breathing. And in the air, there are living entities, small living entities. But with every breath we take, we are killing. So killing cannot be avoided, but we can reduce the violence. And there's no need to kill animals. If you're living in the Arctic, and there's only flesh to be eaten. There are no plants growing there. Okay, this is a different thing. But here, no one is forced to eat meat. No. No way. We have so much possibilities. And the Indian kitchen is famous for their many varieties of vegetarian food. Oh, unbelievable things. So many good things. They are expert. They're even expert in creating tastes where you have a problem to believe that this is vegetarian. I remember I was a guest I think it was in Mumbai. And this family was cooking, and it looked like meat, it tasted like meat, but it was not meat. With some spices, you can create things, wonderful. I was really unsure if this was vegetarian. Because sometimes you know, I remember a sannyasi from ISKCON, he went for preaching to Mongolia. And of course, they're also taking a lot of meat. They're depending a lot of meat. So he was invited into a house and he told them, but please, I cannot take any meat, fish or eggs. And they were surprised, and then they said, okay, we can arrange. So they brought him some kind of cookie. And he was, like, I'm not sure what it is. No meat. They said, no fish, no eggs. Really? Yeah, no meat, no fish, no eggs. Okay, and what is it? It's a cookie. Yeah, but Made from what? Insects. So they made a nice cookie from insects. They were happy because it was no meat, no fish, no eggs, just insects. He said, "Oh, thank you very much. I think I have to starve today. This is a fasting day for me." Yeah. So Mongolia is a tough place for vegetarians. Also Iceland is a tough place for vegetarians. But this is another story, Iceland. But we can, as human beings, reduce the violence. We can reduce the violence to as much as possible. And here in this area of Germany, there's no problem. Okay, if you're not able to cook in the Indian style, you cook in German style, Italian style, whatever. Doesn't matter. But you can live without any problems as a vegetarian. Vegan is something else. We are not vegan. We like to use milk products, cheese and milk and curd and things like this. But respect for someone who's vegan, which is also okay, very good. No, my point was that Ram had to make a decision, and he had to make a balanced decision, and there were two different values he has to consider. Right? And Krishna helps us if we have to make a decision. He helps us. He gives us signs. He gives us hints. And there are sadhus, there are gurus, there are shastra we can refer to. Still, we can make a wrong decision, or not the best one. Okay, this can happen. But if your intention is good, then it's not so bad. Prabhupada said, if you make a mistake, this is second class. But if you correct your mistake, this is first class. And if you repeat your mistake, this is third class. We can make mistakes. This is part of human nature. But then still we should listen to our inner voice. We should listen to other friends and hints. Krishna will give us hints and will say, well, you do not listen to this one? Okay, look at this one. You're not listen to your friend, you're not listen to your disciple, then listen to your bumps at your feet. Did you understood that these shoes are not good in Vrindavan? Have you finally understood? So the sannyasi finally understood and got rid of the shoes. And Ram finally understood. He said, okay, I have to make a choice. On one hand, I should not kill a woman. On the other hand, there is the order of Vishwamitra and of my father. So, and the most important point is, I gave her the chance to stop the fight, but she is not willing. She's attacking us. She's endangering our lives. So, what can I do? Is the door open? Yeah, okay. What can be done? So it's hot. What can be done? that's Adidevika, too much heat. Trouble from the demigods. Yeah, and this incident, like I said, there are at least 5 incidents where people criticize Ram, which is of course good. To criticize Ram is better than to forget Ram. Many Western scholars, they're taken aback, so to say. They're wondering why in Hinduism the demons who are fighting with Bhagavan are praised for their action. Why they are adored even by their actions. In South India, there are people who worship Ravana more than Ram. Anyway, why is another story. But in Hinduism, any contact with the Supreme is good, even if it's inimical, even as an opponent, even if you want to kill him. Krishna says, very good, come and fight. Let's have a fight. And all those who were killed by Ram or by Krishna or by any other form of Bhagavan, they make spiritual advancement. It's not they're going, they might go to what Christians would call hell, but ultimately they make spiritual advancement by being in contact. Therefore, once a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who was the founder of Gaudiya Math and the guru of Srila Prabhupada, a disciple wrote in a newspaper a bad article about the Vaishnavas. And Bhaktisiddhanta heard the article and then he asked, how many times Krishna's name was mentioned? And the disciple said, 6 times. Oh, good article. Any type of connection with Krishna or Rama or any Vishnu form is helpful. Even if you're inimical, even if you're angry at him, it's good. And this is one. There are different reasons why these incidents are there in the Ramayana. Incidents where Ram could be criticized for. If you are criticizing someone, usually you're meditating heavily on him, right? Because bad news, they are more of interest. If you look at the normal newspaper or in broadcasting of news, how many good news are there? Not even 10%. Usually bad news, bad news, bad news. We are interested in bad news, right? So this catches our mind much more than good news because of fear. There's the good old fear again. Yeah. So if we can criticize someone, we are meditating very concentrated on him. At least we are in touch with him. And therefore, one reason why these incidents are there where you could argue if this was okay by Ram or not. And there are other incidents which were much more heavily criticized. This one was a pretty simple one, so to say, because it's easier. If you're attacked and your life is in danger, you have the right to defend yourself. That's all right, even if it's ruin. But this was only the first one. O Ram, adorned with the shining ornaments. She has put us in all types of dangers. She could not be killed because she is left over. She only remains to be killed. You should treat her as a wicked person, though she is a woman. Yes. But the principle, I think, it's good that you should not kill a woman or a child or an older person. At least if you are an honorable person yourself. All right, any questions to this? I think I have 1 hour, and this is exactly 1 hour. No questions. Come on.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Well, a couple of days ago, we had an online lecture, and the topic was similar to the one you touched upon today. So one Mataji asked the sannyasi who was giving the lecture, when supposedly she's making the Dhamma in Vrindavan, and she's somewhere alone on her way, and she's being attacked by a robber. And taken, she's on the Holy Dhamma, and the robber is a citizen of Vrindavan. Taking all this into consideration, is it allowed for her to defend herself? What is their opinion on this?
What was the answer?
Well, the sannyasi was somehow putting it this way. He said, "You're to blame for taking this way unprotected, and it's somehow bad planning, and you carry the blame." So that was his point. And
Wow.
I
Blame it on the woman.
Different. Yes, my opinion was quite different.
Well, I would not agree to this.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, you can say that she shares a little percentage of responsibility. But the main point is that there is someone attacking. And even if it's in Vrindavan, Krishna killed so many demons in Vrindavan. Okay, no one is Krishna except Krishna. So this argument is not very convincing. But I would say if you are not interested to die, you defend yourself. Of course. If someone is just in this moment in Vrindavan, doesn't mean that he's born in Vrindavan. And even if he's born in Vrindavan, doesn't mean that he's a holy man. You can, this is what I think Jiva Goswami is explaining this, that some people living in a holy spot and some people living on a holy spot. They seem to be living in Vrindavan, but they are not. Because there is a geographically obviously seen Vrindavan, and there's a spiritual Vrindavan, which is not always the same. For some, this is the same. But there are so many, especially in Vrindavan, there's so many dacoits and robbers. You cannot believe it. There are, last time I was in Vrindavan, it's like, I think 8 years or 10 years ago, there was I think it was a Swiss or Austrian devotee, I don't remember. He was living since some years in Vrindavan already, and he was part of a crew of people protecting the cows there were people coming to Vrindavan, stealing the cows and selling them to slaughterhouses. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is Kali Yuga. There is the Yamuna. On the other side of the Yamuna, there are also people living, but this is not the very well-known Vrindavan. There are villages, and the people stick together, and they are very also pious. There, you cannot steal a cow, because if they catch you, they will beat you up to death immediately. But on the other side of the Yamuna, what we usually know as Vrindavan, Loy Bazaar, and all these places where the holy spots are, or most of the spots are, and the temple, Radha Aman temple and Radha Damodar and so on. Indeed, they have to protect the cows in the night. Can you imagine this? So, of course, yes, it is part of the culture that a woman should not just wander on the street on her own. Unfortunately, this is even in India a problem. I mean, we have heard about different situations where women are raped. This is, of course, a horrible sign of losing culture in India of men. So, and I'm also saying this. If sometimes people come to me and say, "Oh, I would like to visit India," women, I said, "Okay, but you should not travel on your own." Unfortunately, you have to add this nowadays in India, especially not if you're blonde. If your hair is blonde, then some Indians, there is something, they get mad. So in this sense, yes, you should not do this, but this is, in an ocean of faults of others, this is a small drop of our own responsibility. I would put it like this. So the main problem is this man or these people who are attacking you. And of course, if you're in Vrindavan or not, yes, you have to defend yourself. Definitely. Definitely. No other way.
Okay, thank you.
You're coming from Germany.
Yes, I live in Germany for a long time already.
As German or
I'm not German.
No?
I come from Russia.
Russia? Okay. Fortunately, you are here. Some months ago, I told the story how, I guess you know it also, you became a devotee in Russia?
No, here.
But you know the story how it started in Russia?
Well, more or less.
It's such an impressive story, and I will continue, just an information for the kitchen stuff. I will continue until you stop me and throw me out here. How Krishna consciousness started in Russia was that Prabhupada was invited to Russia from a Russian Indologists. So Russia and India, they were closer together than India and the USA. So India was officially neutral, but there was more tendency to Russia because they didn't like the Americans, because India didn't like the British. So anyway, so Prabhupada was invited with this. So he went to Moscow with a disciple. I think it was Yamasunda. And he didn't want to eat the stuff he got in the hotel. So he sent his disciple out to the streets and said, just buy some vegetables, so we will cook something on our own. And the disciple had uh, huge problems to find something to eat. He went to different shops and there was only milk and sugar. So finally he met a Russian boy and an Indian boy on the street of India, living in Moscow. And the Russian boy was his friend. They were at the same school. So, of course, the Indian boy, he was immediately recognizing this Western guy because he was in dhoti and kurta, saffron, as a brahmachari. So he was, of course, he was something spectacular in this gray Moscow environment. So they started to talk to each other, so they explained to him it's how difficult it is to find some vegetables, but to find something to buy. Finally, Shama Sundar invited them to the hotel to meet Prabhupada. So these boys, I don't remember exactly how old they were, I think 14, 15, something. They came to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada explained, especially to this Russian boy, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness for 3 or 4 hours. And this boy only heard for 3, 4 hours the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. He started the movement. Just by this hours of sadhu sangha, of being together with a holy person. He was so invested with energy that he started to preach to others what he had learned in these 3, 4 hours. I think they came back the next day again, but I'm not sure about this one. I think the next day they came again to the hotel and Prabhupada preached some more to them, as far as I remember. But this boy, there was no literature in Russian or nothing. No recipes for cooking or anything. But he was a Shaktavesha, which means invested with Shakti. So he started the whole movement, and this movement became so big in Russia, unbelievable big and influential, that one of the ministers of Internal Affairs in Russia said there are 3 main threats to our country. The USA, of course, the Western lifestyle, and the Hare Krishnas. Anyway, Russia is a long story. Yeah. Russia. Nowadays, of course, I guess they have a hard time. They have a hard time again. They had a very hard time under the communist regime and before Gorbachev. And I remember in '86 there was a huge initiation ceremony. I think I have told us in Mayapur when I also got initiation. There are 300-400 disciples initiated by different gurus. And one guru, he was appointed for also Russia. And the normal way is that the guru is there, he has the mala, and then he calls the disciple in front of him and said, "Your name is so-and-so Das," and he gives them the mala to chant for the rest of his life. So, but this guru, he called out all the names, but no one came because they were all Russians. They couldn't come. But somehow secretly, who was there, who was interested in becoming initiated, what was his name, and then through some channels they got them their chanting beads and their names. We had also some smuggling into East Germany before the wall came down with different methods over the transitways and waterways, and prepared cars where books were hidden, and just to bring Chaitanya's message to the East. And some had to go to prison for being caught for smuggling. And then the BBT, this is the printing house of ISKCON, they made very small Russian Bhagavad Gitas, like this size, very small letters, very good for smuggling. So, and later on we heard that even if they were detected at the border, because there were some means to hide them, but sometimes they were detected, so they put it in a certain kind of lager, the police, but found out that some weeks later they were gone. Someone was stealing them from the lager, from the police lager. So somehow Krishna finds his ways into the society. This is, there's so many stories how we smuggled things into the communistic countries. Russia, tough place, communists. So, no one is stopping me, we can talk, we can continue. Should I? So, you are also from Russia or?
I'm from Germany.
Germany. Good. So, it's a pity. Almost no Germans. All kinds of people, Russians, Indians.
I'm sitting in Nepal.
Nepal.
Yeah.
Acha. Acha. Do you know that there is a Nepali Ramayana? A Nepali Ramayana?
Nepali Ramayana, we have also.
You have read it?
Yeah, I read it.
Really?
Anubhakta Ramayana.
Yes.
But I read mostly Ramcharitamanas.
Tulsidas.
And Valmiki Ramayana.
Is it this Manu, this Nepali Ramayana? Is it available in English?
Nepali Ramayana is I don't like so much. I like Sanskrit text better than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also more interested in the original in Valmiki, but
Yeah.
It's
Translated Valmiki Ramayana into Nepali style. Bhanuvakta Acharya translated Valmiki Ramayana into Nepali Ramayana.
is it just a translation or is it an own creation?
No, it's not his own creation. It's a Ramayana from.
It's just a translation.
Valmiki translation.
The whole thing? The whole Valmiki?
Yes, the whole Valmiki.
20,000 shlokas. Because Tulsidas is not a translation. This is an own work.
Valmiki Ramayana is Bhanuvakta Ramayana and Valmiki Ramayana is the same.
Achha.
We also make in Nepali slokas, Nepali language.
Ah. It's not in prosa, he even put it also in verses.
In our small island.
Oh, yeah. I was confusing with it. There is a Tibetan Ramayana,
And there
but
are
it's
so
not
many
called.
Ramayans.
Yeah. But it's not called Ramayana. It's like in Chinese and also in Japan, they have a summary of stories,
Yeah.
like Hitopadesh,
But in Nepali,
Panchatantra.
this is a whole Valmiki Ramayana, you can read slokas. It's a big book.
But it's not available in English, right?
In English, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. And this is very well known in Nepal
In Nepal, yeah,
because Nepal is more Buddhist.
Sing this Ramayana. But nowadays, Ramcharitamanus is a very well
This is the most
The
famous.
old generation, the people of old generation, they Bhagavata Ramayana, Valmiki.
Yeah,
But the new generation, they Ramcharitamanus.
in Nepali.
Yeah, and not in Nepali, also in his language, Hindi. It's a different language in Ramcharitamanus.
Yeah, it's Avadi. It's called Avadi. It's an old Hindi dialect.
Yeah, it's old.
But the Nepalis, they can understand this.
Sorry?
The Nepalis can understand this Hindi.
Yeah, normally not so, because in Ramcharitamanus is a different meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can understand more, but not all.
But they hear it in this old Avadi
Yeah.
language, not translated in Nepali.
We hear the text, the word Hindi language from Ramcharitamanus, and it's also translated in Nepali. The slokas translated
Okay.
in Nepali.
Not only
Know the
in
meaning.
It's not only in Nepali letters, but also in Nepali language.
Nepali language, yeah.
Acha. Okay. Yes. Nepal. Do you still have a king in Nepal?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
2001. Not anymore.
Previously, Nepal, the kings were, it was very traditional, everything. So if someone was supposed to become a king,
He was a so nice king. Everybody so liked him.
he took a spear and went to the forest to kill a tiger. This was his duty. To show that he was willing to defend his people, that he was a good fighter. But no gun or anything, just a spear, and then go and kill a tiger. Previously, I guess they stopped this. There are not any more tigers around, unfortunately. And no kings anymore.
Than tigers nowadays.
Yeah.
In Tarai, we have many.
Now there's even more tigers than kings. Yeah. Prabhupada told us that to his time this was still the custom. Yeah, it's 100 years ago, 120 years ago. Oh, that's interesting. Nepal. So these are the two basic works concerning Ram in Nepal. This translation of Manubhakta and the Ramcharitmanas. Are there also theater plays sometimes? Some do this in schools or something? No.
Where you can read Ramayana. We
Yeah.
have also Gurukulam. We have many Gurukulam in Nepal. Where they can learn Ramayana, or Vedas, anything.
But not ISKCON Gurukul. You mean normal?
I think ISKCON
Hindu?
can also learn in school in Nepal. It's also school. There are many schools in Nepal. Katha one, Pokhara, everywhere. People also, I think, many schools.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, Manu Bhakta, right. Nepal. So you know how the story continues. Katha is killed, and they continue on their way to what is this? Koshala? Forgot. Janaka's place. Yeah, Janakapura. This is. I think there is a city half India, half Nepal, right? Right at the border of Nepal, half
Yeah, Janakpur.
Janakpur, right? Janakpur, the city of Janaka. And nearby is supposed to be the birthplace of Sita.
Janaki, yeah.
You have been there in Janakpur?
In Janakpur, no. I was.
Oh, I'd like to go there anyway.
So beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure it's a beautiful place. And I guess in this place where Sita is supposed to be have appeared, that everyone is greeting themselves with Jai Sita Ram or something. Yeah. Janakpur. So they're on their way to the Yajna of Vishwamitra. We heard that the two sons of Tathaka, Maricha and Subahu, they are responsible for disturbing the Yajna of Vishwamitra. And so Ram is supposed to protect this, which he did with Lakshman. They shoot an arrow in the sky, and these arrows were building kind of roof. So all this unclean substance falling from the sky, like blood and urine and flesh and all this stuff, could not go through, and Vishwamitra finished his 7-day yajna, finally. And he was happy. And then some of the disciples of Vishwamitra, they told Ram, hey, why not go to Janakpur? But they didn't tell them that there is a Swayamvar by Sita. Swayamvar means there's a ceremony where the bride, the woman, is making herself the decision. Who she is going to marry. There's 7 different kinds of marriage in the Hindu culture. One is Swayamvar. Swayamvar means the woman decides herself. There's over Gandharva. There's another type is Gandharva style. Gandharva style means the woman is kidnapped to become the wife of someone, like Bhishma did. You know the story in the Mahabharata. He kidnapped 3 sisters. But this is a long story, with some difficulties involved. And finally, he himself got killed because one of these sisters, but this is another story. So Swayam is in Sanskrit something which refers to yourself. So, yes, they didn't tell Lakshman and Ram about the Swayamvar ceremony. They said in Jaipur there is the famous bow of Shiva. So for Kshatriyas, a famous bow is something which is of interest. He said you should visit this wonderful bow of Shiva, Shiva's own bow, which is right. This was Shiva's bow. Through some persons, he came to Janakpur. And Lakshman and Ram agreed, and they all traveled. Vishwamitra and these two brothers, they traveled to Janakpur. On their way, there is another interesting story which we won't discuss in length today, but maybe next time. That Ram is touching a stone, and this stone turns into a woman. I guess the Indians, they all know the story. This woman, or the stone, was previously a woman, cursed by her own husband to become a stone. Not very nice, but it's another story. So they're on their way to Janakpur, and as we all know, they arrive there, and Sita and Ram, they meet each other, and finally they fell in love, and they marry. And Sita had a sister, and she married Lakshman, and the brother of Janaka Maharaj had also two sisters. They married later on in Ayodhya, but this is another story. Last month, I was ordered to stop after 1 hour, but no one is stopping me, so I continue.
Should we ask?
I guess they will tell me. They can stop me anytime. I'm not. I will continue.
Prabhuji, should we stop the lecture? I just don't know. Continue till
Continue.
the final
Continue.
Please continue.
And okay, then let's have a look at this story as they're on their way, and they come to an ashram of the sage Gautama. Gautama was a very holy, advanced sage, and he had an extremely beautiful woman, wife, Ahalya. She was famous in the whole world for her beauty. So Indra, who is a lusty guy, he wanted to enjoy Ahalya. So he went to the place where the ashram was of Gautama and Ahalya, and he waited in the morning, because the normal routine of a brahmana or a yogi is in the morning you go to the river to take a bath and clean yourself and stuff like this. So Gautama went to the river, and Indra, he took the form of Gautama, the external appearance of Gautama, and stepped into the hut of Ahalya. She was a little bit surprised that he's back so soon, but he enjoyed her, and only at the end Ahalya realized that this is not her husband, although he looks exactly like Gautama. Even if you're in an intimate exchange with your wife, you have a certain kind of behaving. So she realized only at the end that this was not Gautama, but Indra. But it was too late. So Indra, he knew that Gautama is a very holy person and very advanced. And these advanced yogis, if they get angry, then usually you run in trouble. So Indra was just opening the heart and trying to escape. And then who was standing right in front of him? Gautama. Even dripping from water. He just came out of the river. So Gautama was standing before his hut. And then there was standing someone who looks exactly like him. So Gautama, through mystic power, he understood this is Indra, the lusty Indra. And Indra, he was like, okay, sorry, I have an appointment, I have to go. Gautama cursed him. Gautama cursed him. He said, you are such a lusty fellow. Disgusting. You're just disgusting. So I curse you that you will lose your testicles. So that you are, so to say, relieved for the future from this urge. Of course, Indra was not very happy. And the Devas, they had some physicians on the heavenly planets, and they gave him the testicles of a goat instead. In another version, which is also in the Puranas, Gautama is cursing Indra. He said, you are so interested in sex, so the female vagina should be all over your body. So thousands of female vaginas were appearing on his body. So Indra was like, oh, this is a little bit, so he felt ashamed. And the Devas prayed to Gautama, can you take this curse back? And usually you cannot take a curse back. But Gautama said, okay, I will change this into eyes. Therefore, on Indra's bodies, there are thousands of eyes, and one of his names is Sahasraksha, the thousand-eyed. So, and of course, Indra left quickly before he got another curse. And then Gautama said to his wife, could you please, Indians in the back row, could you talk a little bit? Or later. So then he went to his wife, Ahalya, and he cursed her to become a stone. He himself went to the Himalayas to meditate, and he told Ahalya, you will remain here as a stone, and you will be relieved only when Ramachandra is coming and he will touch you with his foot. And this is exactly what's happened. Ram is visiting the ashram. Vishwamitra is telling him the story of what happened. And he's touching with his foot the stone, and then the stone is changing again into Ahalya. She was in the same use and beauty as before. So Gautama came immediately from the Himalayas. This happened. And he took Ahalya again as his wife. This is also an important point. That although she was not loyal to him, she was engaging with another man, but still Gautama took her back. This is in so far, you might think this is a not so important point, but later on we will see in the Ramayana, in the connection of Rama and Sita, this is an important point. Anyway, so he took Ahalya back. He accepted her as his wife again, and Ram continued to Janakpur. The famous lifting of the bow happened. And there are also different versions of this. In the Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas has a little bit elaborated on this thing. In Valmiki, of course, different people trying to lift the bow, different kings. No one is able to do it. Then Vishwamitra is asking Ram to do it. He does it with his left arm. He strings the bow with his right arm and breaks the bow. So this is Valmiki. Tulsidas is different. In Tulsidas' version, there is also Ravana coming, trying to lift the bow. Because when there is a beautiful woman, then Ravana is interested. He's also a lusty guy. In fact, this was his main problem, his attachment to women. So, it's also a long story, but Ravana is trying to lift the bow. But before this all happened, this lifting, Rama and Sita, they had met only by looking, not by talking, but both fell in love with each other. So Sita had already decided, I would like to marry Rama. So then Ravana came, and Ravana was very famous. He had defeated the demigods. He was controlling almost the whole universe. So, but Sita was not interested to marry this Ravana. She prayed to all the demigods and all the inhabitants of the heavens, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Kimpurushas, Gandharvas. What else is there? Also many different species, like the Devas and so on. To please come in an invisible form and set on the bow. So millions of living entities came sitting on this bow. And of course, this bow became so heavy that Ravana couldn't lift it. This is one version. Not in Valmiki, but so Ravana came, tried to lift the bow. First, he just tried it with his left hand. He thought, okay, what is Shiva? Who is Shiva? So he tried to lift the bow, but he could not. Then he tried with both hands, but no way. So he was just able to lift it some little space, so he got his two hands under the bow, and then he was stuck. could not lift it, even 5 centimeters or something. He was stuck under this heavy bow, and he started to cry and to shout. But no one dared to come near to him to help him. And of course, he was not especially very, no one liked him, to be honest. So he was stuck under this bow and was crying and shouting like anything. But no one could do anything because no one could lift this bow. Except Shiva, there was only one person who had lifted this bow before. And this was Sita. Sita herself, as a little girl, had lifted the bow. Anyway, finally, Vishwamitra looked at Ram and said, "Now, you go." So Ram lifted the bow a little bit, and Ravana pulled his hands out, and immediately, of course, he left, because this was a shame for him. Everyone was laughing and booing and ha 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 at him. So he left immediately, and Ram lifted the bow.
5 minutes more.
5 minutes. Okay. Punch minute. Yeah. Punch minute turns sometimes into 5 hours in India. India's stretchable time, IST. So, and of course, Sita came with a garland at Ram. This was the sign that he was the one to be recognized as the husband. And, well, the other kings were not very amused about the whole event, because everyone was eager to marry Sita. What can you do? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose in life. Yes. So they went back to Ayodhya. And the story I also told before, that they met Parashurama on their way back to Ayodhya. But this story is not finished in 5 minutes. Maybe there's another question. No.
Maybe in short, what is the main lesson of the Ramayana?
Well, whenever Krishna or Rama or any form of Bhagavan appears, there are many lessons. The main lesson is Rama is there. He is there. He is existing. Prabhupada once gave a lecture in London, in Bhaktivedanta Manor, and 800,000, mainly Indians, were there. And then in question and answers were there, and then one lady stood up and asked Prabhupada, "Can you show me God?" Sometimes we hear these questions, stupid question, but anyway. So everyone was eager, of course, but what would Prabhupada answer? Prabhupada looked at her and said, do you want to see God? Yeah. She said, I want to see God. And still he looked at her, do you really want to see God? Yeah. And he asked her at a short time, do you really want to see God? And of course, everyone's looking at her, 1,000 people, complete this silent. And she was like thinking and said, no. And sat down. So if you are interested in seeing Bhagavan in one form, if Kurma, Varaha, Nrsimha, Rama, Krishna, whatever, you will at one point see him. If you are interested, if you are really interested, if you can accept and understand and realize that he is a person. It's not just a concept, it's not a story, it's not an energy, it's not something somewhere, it is a person. And therefore, he comes to this earth for his leelas, that we understand that he is a person, not just some reincarnated Brahman, some reincarnated energy. No other religion is pushing this point so clearly, that the Supreme is a person. It's a person with many, many forms, with many, many ways of appearance. But like we had Jagannath last month here. Fortunately, he visited this town. We have Nrsimha Dev, we have so many forms, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nrsimha, Vamana, and so on, so on, so on. He has so many forms, but still he's a person. This is Bhaktisiddhanta one. Once he was in a kind of meditative mood, and the disciples asked him, oh, you are meditating about what? And he said, well, I'm meditating about the Muslims who go to heaven. And his disciples were surprised. The Muslims? But they're eating meat and they're eating even cows. Yes, Bhaktisiddhanta said, yes, for this they have to go to hell. But they believe in a personal God, and therefore they will also go to heaven. This personal understanding of the Supreme, it's so valuable. And it's so crucial to, otherwise this whole, not only Vaishnava philosophy, also other Indian philosophies, they make no sense if you do not realize that there is a personal force, which can, of course, also appear in an impersonal way. And this impersonal way can only exist because there is a person. The sunshine is the impersonal appearance of the sun. This is only the sunshine which is in this room. The sun, we cannot survive. The sun is the sun god is the person. But this is the impersonal, external energy of the sunshine. So therefore, Bhumi, Apo, Nalova, Yoga, and so on. Earth, water, fire, air. These are the external material energy of the Supreme. But this energy is only possible to be there if there's a person who cannot have milk from a cow without a cow. The milk is her impersonal energy. So if you drink the milk, you do not kill the cow. Because the person is the cow and the milk is the energy. It's her transformed energy. What an creation. A machine which is only eating grass. Just stupid grass. And this machine turns into milk. What an sublime food. You can make so many things out of milk. Yeah. Ah, there's so many recipes with curd and cheese and butter. What a creation. No scientist has ever constructed such a machine. You put just grass, simple grass. And then, in a mystic way, this is turned into milk. Ooh. This is the mystic power of the. This is what Prabhupada once told us, that she has a mystic power. Because how is this possible? By her mystic power, she can do this. What a machine, right? Great. This is great. So trees, Prabhupada said trees have a mystic power. They can drink through their feet. They drink with their feet. Things we cannot do. So anyway, yes. And this is all just by chance. This is the idea of the materialist. No control, no controller, no God, no source. But Ram comes and gives us his story. Yes, okay, we can hear about him. And we become attached. We want to hear good stories. Therefore, there is Mahabharata. Vyasadeva, 5,000 years ago, he knew, okay, we have the four Vedas, we have the Upanishads, we have the Puranas. But who will understand all this? Hardly anyone in Kali Yuga. So he was dictating the Mahabharata, which is just a summary, or not a summary, of a collection of many, many stories, wild stories, complicated stories, hard to believe stories. He did not rewrite the Ramayana because he said, oh, the Ramayana is already there. I do not have to rewrite this or to recompose it. But Mahabharata he did, which is 5 times as long as Ramayana, more than 100,000 verses. Long, long, long and complicated. So this is the problem in Kali Yuga. Deep philosophy, yes, you find very complicated philosophical points in the Vedas. If you want to seriously study the different philosophical schools, traditions, it takes years. But who is going to do this? Right? Manda Sumanda Matayo. This is what the Srimad Bhagavatam says. In this Kali Yuga, people are slow. Manda means slow. And Sumanda means very slow, super slow. Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya. So, therefore, yes, I thank you for listening,
Thank you very much.
for giving me the opportunity to speak about Ra. And now we adore Shri Gaunitai. Jai Shri Shri Gaunitai ki jai. Sita Lakshman Hanuman ki jai.
Yes, Divi Ratha Prabhuji.
Jai.
Everyone can kindly sit. Sorry, stand. Mataji's to your right and Prabhu's to your left. Jai Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Prabhupada ki.